वेलकम बैक टू पाकिस्तानी रिएक्शन। आज इस वीडियो पे हम रिएक्ट करने जा रहे हैं, उसका टाइटल है हाउ जियो's मास्टर प्लान बीट डिज्नी एंड बिकम द किंग ऑफ इंडियन ओटीटी।
अच्छा जी, ये बिजनेस केस स्टडी है और इसके ऊपर हम रिएक्शन देंगे। थिंक स्कूल वालों की ये वीडियो है और इस वीडियो के लिए हमें काफ़ी रिकमेंडेशंस आ रही थी कुछ अरसे से, लेकिन किसी वजह से ये थोड़ी सी डिले हो गई, सो सॉरी फॉर दैट। हियर इट इज़। देखते हैं इसको। अगर बिजनेस केस स्टडी है और दिस इन्वॉल्व्स जियो, तो डेफिनेटली वी आर गोइंग टू लर्न
इंटरेस्टिंग टॉपिक है,
रियली इंटरेस्टिंग। तो इसको देखते हैं, उसके बाद करते हैं आपसे गपशप।
चलिए, चैनल पे नया तो सब्सक्राइब करना बिल्कुल मत भूलिएगा। वेल, मैं हूं मोना
और मैं हूं बिलाल और आप देख रहे हैं रिएक्शन।
चलिए जी, वीडियो को स्टार्ट करते हैं। 3, 2, 1 एंड गो।
Hi everybody, on 20th of February 2024, the streaming market of India witnessed the biggest merger of the decade. This is when Disney plus Hotstar entered into a joint venture with Mukesh Dhirubhai Ambani.
Disney announcing that it is merging its India TV and streaming business with the country's top conglomerate, Reliance Industries.
Strategic joint venture of a media and entertainment company.
An $8.5 billion behemoth in the media space.
And the reason why this is a very big deal, because with this merger, Mukesh Ambani has practically become the king of Indian OTT space, because now this entity alone owns 35% of the entire OTT market of India, 120 television channels and 30,000 content assets of Disney. In total, this entity alone will command a total viewership of 750 million viewers.
Over 100 television channels in media and entertainment space, with 3 streaming platforms with an impressive international catalog, and also the largest offering and portfolio of sporting events.
In media, winner takes it all, and this will become the big daddy of Indian media.
750 million viewers across India is what this is going to cater towards, is what these companies are saying.
And you know what? Reliance will practically control 63.16% of this merged entity, and Disney owns only 36.84%. And this is absolutely shocking, because in 2021, Disney was the king of the Indian OTT space. If you don't believe me, look at this chart. While Amazon Prime had 22.3 million views, Netflix stood at 6.1 million views, and Disney plus Hotstar touched a viewership of 51 million views. And if you look at JIO was nowhere in 2021. But even then, in just 2 years, something crazy has happened, and suddenly Reliance has become the king of the Indian media space. So the question is, how did Reliance dethrone Disney as the king of the Indian media space? What was Mukesh Ambani's genius business strategy to beat a 100-year-old giant like Disney in India? How did Disney lose this business war with JIO in spite of having so much money and so much resources? And as students of business, what are the lessons that we need to learn from this epic business battle? To understand this merger of the decade and why Disney lost, we first need to understand how a merger fundamentally takes place. So let's understand this using an example. Let's say there are 2 media companies, Think Media and WTF Media, and they wish to merge their operations. So the first step to this process is to settle on something called individual valuations. This means both entities need to first calculate their own value. For media companies, this valuation is done by counting a company's intellectual properties like shows, plus brand value, plus future cash flows, plus net present value of assets and liabilities. So let's say ThinkSchool has assets worth $12 million and liabilities of $2 million. So its net present value based on assets and liabilities would be 12 minus $2 million equal to $10 million. Similarly, its IP and brand value are estimated at $5 million, and the present value of its projected future cash flow is $15 million. So ThinkSchool's overall valuation would be $10 million plus $5 million plus $15 million equal to $30 million. Similarly, WTF Media might have assets worth $5 million and liabilities of $1 million. So its net present value would be $4 million. If its IP and brand value are worth $10 million and the present value of the future cash flow is estimated at $6 million, then WTF Media's valuation would be $4 million plus $10 million plus $6 million equal to $20 million. This is the first phase of a merger, which is valuation. If this is clear, let's come to the second step, which is ownership distribution. Now, based on the values of Think and WTF, the value of this entire venture is $20 million plus $30 million, which is $50 million. So, based on this valuation, Think Media gets 60% stake, while WTF Media will get 40% of this new entity. Let's call this new entity Indian Business Podcast. But now Nikhil Kamath comes in and says that he wants to invest another $10 million. And then this fresh infusion of cash will change the valuation of the Indian Business Podcast. So now the Indian Business Podcast is valued at 20 million plus 30 million plus 10 million, which is $60 million. So now Think Media, which brings in $30 million in value, will own 50% of the entity, whereas WTF brings in $20 million, which will own 33% of this entity. And Nikhil individually will own 17% in this new entity. But now if you see, practically Nikhil owns both WTF Media and his own stake. So Nikhil has 50% ownership of the Indian Business Podcast. This is how Nikhil can increase his stake if the stakeholders agree to have his cash input. If this is very, very clear to you, let's come to the Reliance Disney merger, because this merger is very similar to the merger that we just discussed. And Mukesh Ambani acted very similar to how Nikhil Kamath acted in this hypothetical joint venture. You see, Mukesh Ambani has a 73% stake in Viacom 18, and Viacom 18 merged with Disney Star, which is Disney's India arm. While Viacom had a holding value of $4 billion, Disney transferred most of its assets to Disney Star, giving it a holding value of $3.1 billion. And just like Nikhil pumped in $10 million into the Indian Business Podcast, Mukesh Ambani pumped in an external investment of $1.4 billion. And this brought the total joint venture value to $8.5 billion. So essentially, Reliance will have a direct stake of 16.34% because of Ambani's $1.4 billion. Viacom 18 will have 46.82% because of its $4 billion valuation. And Disney will own 36.84% of the joint venture. And since Ambani owns a significant chunk of Viacom 18, Reliance will practically control 63.16% of this merged entity. Now, I don't know if you noticed this equation, but what is very surprising in this equation is the low valuation of Disney. Because if you remember, in 2021-2022, Disney had internally valued its India business at around $5.4 billion. This included Star India, Disney and Disney Plus Hotstar. And today, in February 2024, which is 2 years after this valuation, the same valuation has dropped from 5.4 to $3.9 billion. And that is a difference of $1.5 billion. So the question is, what happened in the past 2 years and where did things start going wrong for Disney? To understand this, let's put it in a timeline and take you through a quick history of Disney in India. You see, back in 2004, Disney independently started operations in India. And after the success of the Disney Channel, they went on to acquire Hungama TV, which was owned by UTV. By 2012, Disney bought out UTV to venture into the filmmaking business. And in spite of a few hit movies, the company was still making losses. So with no success in films, it closed its production arm in 2016. Then in 2017, Disney made another acquisition and paid $71.3 billion for a large portion of 21st Century Fox.
The blockbuster Disney deal, the parent company of ABC buying many of the assets of 21st Century Fox, creating an entertainment giant.
In a move that would reshape the entertainment industry, large parts of what belonged to 21st Century Fox would become the property of Disney.
And with this deal, Disney took over Fox's business in India, where they got their golden goose, which is none other than the Star India network. Now, just to give you better context, this Star Group alone owns 77 TV channels like Star Gold, Star Plus, Star Sports and even Hotstar. So Star is literally a crown jewel of the Indian media space with an audience of 700 million people. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but then every member in your family consumes at least one Star channel. While moms watch Star Plus, my grandma watches Star Vijay, which is a Tamil channel. And we millennials, we watch Star Sports along with our father. So for Disney, with just this one move, it got access to a market of 700 million people. Then in 2020, Disney merged its newly created Disney Plus with Hotstar to embrace the OTT wave in India, and that too during the pandemic. So do you realize this is some unreal timing, and that too with the best players in the market merging together with Disney, who was the godfather of media in the entire world. So Disney was practically killing it in India and became a market leader by 2021 with a 30% market share in OTT. Look at this chart. While Netflix total offerings were original movies and shows created by them, Disney plus Hotstar's library consisted of Star, Disney and HBO exclusive content. And this also included the rights to two of the most legendary series in the world, which were from Marvel Cinematic Universe and the iconic Game of Thrones. And both of them were massive hits in India and across the world. And this got them the most premium audience in India. So with this acquisition, Disney acquired three magical superpowers that nobody had in India. Firstly, Star India gave Disney the insane access of local content. Now, in a country where nearly 24 languages are spoken, Star's 77 TV channels spanned across 9 languages. So Star was one of the most important instruments to capture India as a whole. Secondly, they spent billions to broadcast some of India's biggest sports leagues, including our national obsession, cricket and IPL. They went so bullish on sports in 2017 that they backed a $2.6 billion deal to stream the IPL for 5 years. And we all know how IPL became a crown jewel for Hotstar. For those who don't know, IPL 2020 brought in 7.2 million views for Hotstar on the first day itself. This is how IPL became a catalyst of customer acquisition for Hotstar.
IPL today is not only the fastest growing, but is also the second most valuable sports league in the world.
For the match between Chennai Super Kings and Kolkata Knight Riders, viewership for the game peaked at a whopping 5.5 million concurrent viewers. This is the largest on Akamai platform for any live sporting event in the world.
Hotstar as a platform is a market leader, for sports content. Close to 80% of the revenue are cricket driven.
On top of that, unlike other players in the market, Hotstar had two models of revenue, and this made them very, very powerful. They had both advertising video on demand as well as subscription video on demand model. For those who don't know, AVOD is a model where the platform doesn't make money from the audience subscription, but they make money from ads that run while the viewers watch the content for free. For example, YouTube is a AVOD platform where we watch content for free and the creator and the platform make money with ads. Whereas SVOD or subscription based video on demand is a model where the platform makes money from the subscribers, and without paying for it, the subscribers do not get access to any of the content. So while Amazon Prime and Netflix were operating with SVOD models and limited the number of viewers they had, Hotstar very smartly had both AVOD, which was free for everyone, and SVOD for paying customers. This way, they could get the access to a large audience with AVOD, and they could make money with subscribers simultaneously with SVOD. And even in SVOD, Hotstar was so competitively priced that their annual pack started at $14.99 per year, which was the same as Amazon Prime. And in AVOD also, they had another plan which was both free and premium, which started with just $499 rupees per year. So if you remember, this was an AVOD plus SVOD model where for a small fee, you get exclusive content, but you will see it with ads. This is how Hotstar got the reach of AVOD and the revenue of the SVOD model. These are the three superpowers that Hotstar brought in with Disney. And cherry on the cake were the bundles. Now, if you remember, we all got a Hotstar subscription along with our prepaid recharge packs, right? And when we looked deeper, we found out that while Amazon Prime had partnerships only with JIO and Airtel, Netflix had a bundle deal only with Vodafone, and that too with a postpaid plan of over 1,099 rupees. Whereas Disney partnered with all three telecom partners including JIO, Airtel and Vodafone. So this heavily increased their viewership as Disney became more accessible to the users. And you know what? All this put together, they skyrocketed Disney plus Hotstar's viewership to such an extent that, like I showed you in the intro, in November 2021, while Amazon Prime stood at 22.3 million views, Netflix stood at 6.1 million views, and Disney plus Hotstar touched a viewership of 51 million views. So do you see, Disney was practically the king of OTT in India. Then the question over here is, what exactly was the problem and how did a newbie like JIO come and kill Disney's dominance in India? Well, as it turns out, ever since its launch in 2019, Disney Plus had been in losses. So even though Disney poured in millions of dollars into acquiring subscribers and AVOD and bundles, they've been incurring very heavy losses. Look at this chart. While Disney Plus Hotstar's revenue was 1,670 crores in 2021, its losses were 600 crores. And these losses were reduced to 343 crores in FY22. So it almost looked like Disney Plus Hotstar was just about to become profitable, right? Well, this is where there was a twist in the tale, because this is when their 5-year license of IPL got expired. And as we all know, this is where Mukesh Ambani stepped in. In June 2022, Viacom 18 outbid Disney's $2.89 billion with a 5-year digital streaming rights of the IPL from 2023 to 2027. So even though Disney retained the television rights of IPL, it was still a very heavy blow for Disney. And this is when, out of nowhere, JIO made a revolutionary announcement and made IPL free.
The IPL is one of the richest sports properties in the world, making it the only cricket league in the world to crack the top 20 most valuable media rights deals in all of professional sports.
IPL has a viewership of almost 700 million people.
The Reliance-owned OTT platform has shattered world records for the most current OTT views. The Reliance-owned JioCinema successfully streamed the IPL 2023 for free.
So potential to grow this viewership, immense, massive.
And IPL is such a big crowd puller, guys, that in 2023 alone, IPL attracted 449 million viewers, which is practically 1/3 of the entire Indian population. Now, I don't know if this is because of the IPL or not, but between October 2022 to September 2023, Disney Plus Hotstar saw a total loss of 23.8 million subscribers. So when Disney lost IPL, it lost its first golden goose, which was a mass product for India. This is when, in April 2023, Mukesh Ambani took away the second jewel from Disney by buying the exclusive rights to stream HBO content in India. Now, if you know HBO, you would know that the most premium audience in India watches HBO. And just like Game of Thrones in 2019, in 2023, the most premium audience in India was watching Succession, House of Dragons, and Last of Us. And guess what? Mukesh Ambani did not stop here. He further went on to make a multi-year deal with NBC Universal to get another 1,000 hours of films and TV shows. Now again, I don't know how many of you know this, but NBC has the rights to some of the most valuable and perhaps the most popular shows in India. And this includes The Office, Friends, and Brooklyn Nine-Nine. This is the third snatch that Ambani made. So do you see this? Mukesh Ambani essentially broke Disney's OTT business step by step. And you know what? Disney's trouble did not stop here also. Disney's TV business in India was also suffering losses. In the first 9 months of FY23 itself, Star Sports reported an operating loss of $444 million. So Disney failed with Hotstar, Star, and even with its global operations. In fact, in 2023, Disney's stock price dropped to $82.47, which is its lowest level in 9 years. This is because they've been incurring losses not just in India, but all across the world.
Been talking about it. Disney's stock closing now at its lowest level in more than 3 years yesterday.
We're talking about Disney today. Here's the intraday price action. You can see we are just off the lows here. What caused this calamitous decline here?
They got myriad problems at Disney. You don't need to look for more problems to figure out what's going on at Disney.
Now, if this Disney story is very, very clear to you, let's understand how Mukesh Ambani started laying the foundation for this merger from 2018 itself. Well, if you look at JIO, they had always been ambitious in the media space. While JioCinema, JIO TV and JIO Music were seen as just Indianized version of Netflix and Spotify, in reality, Reliance was just laying the foundations to dominate India. And from 2016 onwards, this is what their trajectory looked like. In 2017, they bought stake in Balaji Telefilms to provide JIO TV with content, and in 2018, they merged JIO Music with Sawan. Then in 2022, Reliance made a big business move and merged JioCinema with Viacom 18. Now, to give you an idea about how big Viacom 18 is, look at this chart. Viacom 18 has its roots in TV broadcasting and a widespread presence across cinema, live broadcasting, OTT, and even distribution. It starts from a kids channel like Nick and goes all the way to sports, to MTV, to the entire, I repeat, entire Colors family. In total, they operate across 9 Indian languages and have 38 channels, including the OTT streaming platform Voot. So Reliance merged with Viacom 18 to form a media giant in 2022. This is the reason why, in total, its current holding value of all of its assets came to $4 billion. And this was bigger than Disney India's valuation at the time of their merger. So when Disney was stripped of NBC, HBO and IPL, JIO made them an offer that they could not refuse. So now the question is, when Disney streaming was in losses, why did Reliance take over such an industry, and how will Reliance make a profit when Disney failed in India? Well, again, to understand this, we studied multiple possibilities. And if you look at this chart, there are more than 250 companies under the Reliance empire. This includes everything from retail to telecommunication to entertainment to textiles to even consumer finance. And along with that, they have big brands like Ajio, Book My Show, NetMeds and Hamleys. And this brings three superpowers at JIO's disposal. Firstly, instead of just relying on third-party platforms like YouTube, Reliance will also have a large pool of data and channels to advertise their own brands. So when they own both the advertiser and the channel, their own revenue will just go from one company to another company. It's like backward integration but in advertising. Secondly, with this Disney merger, Mukesh Ambani practically controls both digital and TV rights of IPL. So if anyone wants to advertise in the IPL, they have to go through Mota Bhai only. Which means, because they are practically a monopoly, they can increase the prices of advertising. As a result, they have a much bigger benefit. And lastly, you tell me guys, if you're deciding between JIO and Airtel, if JIO starts offering a data plan that includes free access to IPL, plus international shows from HBO, plus NBC, plus Hotstar, wouldn't you switch from Airtel to JIO? If you just said yes, you know what this is? This is JIO's opportunity to snatch nearly $18 billion in revenue from Airtel. And then again, they can increase their prices. So if Mukesh Ambani uses his superpowers to turn profitable with this merger and take a lead with JIO against Airtel, it will be a revolutionary move. This is what we could find about the legendary rise of JIO and the fall of Disney in India. And by the look of it, it seems like this merger will change the Indian media landscape forever. And this brings us to the last part of the episode, and that are the business lessons that we need to learn from the incredible rise of the Ambanis. Lesson number 1, no matter how much you scale, ultimately, the most important superpower will always be profit, profit and profit. Because with profits, you can buy any company. But without profits, eventually, $1 billion revenue will just be a ballooned illusion of success. In this case, first Reliance used their own resources to build JIO. They turned JIO into a profitable venture, and then they ventured into other industries. Now, do you realize they have done this in spite of having unlimited capital, and they did not scale with just losses? So when Mukesh Ambani is rooting for profit, I think all of us should. Lesson number 2, unless you build a barrier to entry that cannot be replicated with money, any big player with deep pockets can just dismantle your company. In this case, while Disney is strong with content like Marvel, in India, somehow they could not build a barrier to entry, because of which JIO simply had to just buy the rights off and kill their competition. And lastly, like I've always said, the ecosystem is always more powerful than a stand-alone product. And this is something that we all need to strive and build. In this case, while Airtel and Disney are champions in their own domain, somehow JIO is becoming a mammoth in both telecom and media. And this is both fascinating and frightening at the same time. These are the business lessons that we need to learn from this iconic battle between Disney and JIO. And I just hope you learned something valuable from this case study. That's all from my side for today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.
भाई बहुत ही अच्छी और बहुत इन्फॉर्मेटिव वीडियो थी, और हमें लिटरली यहाँ पे मुकेश अंबानी की और जियो की जो स्ट्रेटजीज़ हैं उनका हमें पता चला। और फिर हमने ये भी जाना कि जो हम ऑफ कोर्स नहीं जानते थे कि डिज्नी और प्लस हॉटस्टार जो है ये इंडियन ओटीटी इंडस्ट्री के एक वक्त तक रूलिंग जो एंटिटी रही है। और हम ये भी नहीं जानते थे ऑफ कोर्स कि कौन कौन सी दूसरी एंटिटीज इनके साथ किन किन कंपनीज के जरिए इनके अंडर आती थी। और जो हमने देखा तो दैट वाज रियली शॉकिंग एंड इंस्पायरिंग एट द सेम टाइम फॉर अस, बिकॉज मतलब तमाम के तमाम स्टार हो गया, कलर्स की फैमिली हो गई, इन दूसरे तीसरे, मतलब ये सारे के सारे वो बड़े नाम हैं कि जिनको हम लिटरली बचपन से खुद देखते आ रहे हैं। और ये सब के सब किस बैनर तले फॉल करते थे वो हमें आज पता चला है। अच्छा, अगर बात की जाए इस मर्जर के बारे में, तो ये मर्जर जो है ये फरवरी 2024 के अंदर हुआ, और इस मर्जर की वैल्यूएशन जो थी ये $8.5 बिलियन थी, और इसको इस डेकेड का सबसे बड़ा मर्जर जो है वो कहा जाता है। और हम ये चीज़ देखते हैं कि इस मर्जर के बाद जियो जो है वो 750 मिलियन व्यूअर्स उसको और मिल गए अक्रॉस इंडिया, जो कि एक अपने आप में बहुत बड़ा फिगर है।
बिल्कुल।
और उसके बाद इस मर्जर के साथ ही जियो जो है वो इंडियन ओटीटी की जो इंडस्ट्री है उसका एक बेताज बादशाह, बिल्कुल एक जो है मतलब वो टॉप पे आ गया और उसकी
सुप्रीम किंग बन गया।
सुप्रीम किंग बन गया और उसकी व्यूअरशिप जो है वो सबसे ज्यादा हो गई। और इस मर्जर के बाद हम ये चीज़ देखते हैं कि 120 चैनल्स अक्रॉस 3 जो प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, स्ट्रीमिंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स, वो जियो के अंडर आ गए। और इनके अंदर जो है वो कलर्स की फैमिली शामिल है, स्टार ग्रुप शामिल है, स्टार स्पोर्ट्स ऑफ कोर्स इसके अंदर शामिल है, जिसके बारे में हम ये चीज़ जानते हैं कि यूजुअली अक्रॉस द वर्ल्ड जितने भी स्पोर्टिंग इवेंट्स होते हैं उनके राइट्स, उसके स्ट्रीमिंग राइट्स इन्हीं के पास होते हैं। उसके अलावा स्टार गोल्ड। और ये बात बिल्कुल सही है कि फैमिली का कोई ना कोई मेंबर अगर वो सैटेलाइट टीवी के ऊपर भी स्टार को देख रहा है, इवन हियर इन पाकिस्तान, तो वो मतलब स्टार एक इतना बड़ी कंपनी है और इतने बेशुमार चैनल्स हैं स्टार के अंडर कि कुछ ना कुछ हर एक फैमिली मेंबर के लिए आपको मिल जाता है इसमें देखने के लिए।
क्योंकि हर सोर्स की एक ऑथेंटिक आपको न्यूज़ है या आपको कोई एंटरटेनमेंट है तो आपको स्टार पे मिल जाती है।
बिल्कुल ऐसा ही है। पर इस मर्जर के बाद हम ये चीज़ देखते हैं कि रिलायंस ग्रुप जो है उसका जो शेयर है वो दैट इज 63%। और डिज्नी प्लस हॉटस्टार जो है दैट हैज़ बीन रिड्यूस्ड टू लेस देन 37%। और ये अपने आप के अंदर एक बहुत बड़ा सेटबैक है डिज्नी के लिए। और हमने खैर वो डिज्नी के अप्स एंड डाउन्स भी देखे। हमने ये चीज़ देखी कि डिज्नी ने शुरू में जिस वक्त मतलब ये इंडियन ओटीटी के अंदर उसने स्टेप इन किया तो किस तरह से उसने मर्जर्स करता रहा और किस तरह से उसने जो है इवन आईपीएल जो कि सबसे बड़ा जो मतलब इस पूरे खित्ते का जो स्पोर्टिंग इवेंट है उसके उसने राइट्स को परचेज किया और किस तरह से एक बहुत बड़ी व्यूअरशिप को अपनी तरफ उसने अट्रैक्ट कर लिया। लेकिन फिर स्टेडली हमने ये चीज़ देखी कि कुछ ऐसे फैक्टर्स हुए अलोंग द वे कि डिज्नी जो है वो लॉसेस में जाता रहा। और फिर एक सबसे बड़ा सेटबैक जो मतलब हमें इस वीडियो के जरिए मालूम हुआ वो ये हुआ कि आईपीएल के जो स्ट्रीमिंग राइट्स हैं वो उनके 5 साल का कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो था वो ख़त्म हो गया, जिसके बाद एक बहुत बड़ा चंक व्यूअरशिप का जो था, इफ़ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, उन्होंने 23 पॉइंट समथिंग मिलियन व्यूअर्स अपना उन्होंने बताया कि वो उनके प्लेटफॉर्म से चले गए, जो कि एक बहुत बड़ा जो है वो सेटबैक था। अब इसके अंदर यहाँ पे मुकेश अंबानी जो हैं वो स्टेप इन करते हैं कि हम ये चीज़ देखते हैं कि रिलायंस ने जिस वक्त जियो को सेटअप किया तो जियो शुरू में तो एक टेलीकॉम इंडस्ट्री के तौर पे ही सामने आया, लेकिन फिर जियो सिनेमा एंड देन जो इसका प्रोडक्शन हाउस है वो भी, एंड देन उसके बाद ये कि वियाकॉम 18 के अंदर जो कि एक अपने आप में एक बहुत बड़ी एंटिटी था, उसके अंदर मुकेश अंबानी के कंट्रोलिंग स्टेक्स थे। और फिर उन्होंने और इस मर्जर को करने के लिए अपनी तरफ से भी एक बहुत बड़ी अमाउंट दैट वाज अराउंड 1.4 बिलियन डॉलर्स वो उन्होंने जो है इंजेक्ट की इसके अंदर। और हम ये देखते हैं कि जब ये मतलब ये आईपीएल के लिए जब दोबारा से ये बिड्स हुई और उस बिड को भी जो है मुकेश अंबानी जो है वो जीत गए, तो फिर डिज्नी के पास ऐसा कोई चारा नहीं रह गया हुआ था कि वो सरवाइव कर पाते, बिकॉज वियाकॉम 18 हो गया, जियो हो गया, और फिर साथ जो है मतलब मुकेश अंबानी के जो अपने पर्सनल एसेट्स जब उसके अंदर ऐड हुए तो वो एक वैल्यूएशन के अंदर उन्होंने बड़े डिटेल में हमें ये वैल्यूएशन वगैरह समझाई इस वीडियो के अंदर। तो वो इतना मतलब हैवी वैल्यूएशन हो गई कि जिस वक्त मुकेश अंबानी ने इनको ये ऑफर की कि भाई आप अपने स्टेक्स भी आप हमें दे दें और हम मतलब कंट्रोल हम करेंगे इस चीज़ को, तो दे हैप्पीली एग्रीड, बिकॉज मतलब ये ओटीटी का जो एक इंडस्ट्री थी ये तो वैसे ही उनके गले में एक वो फांसी का फंदा बनने वाली बात हो गई हुई थी। और फिर इस मर्जर के साथ जो एक बहुत बड़ी चीज़ जो मुकेश अंबानी को वो मिली वो ये कि डिज्नी के 30,000 प्लस एसेट्स जो थे, व्यूइंग एसेट्स, वो भी इस मर्जर का हिस्सा बने और डिज्नी ने एग्री किया है कि वो और एसेट्स भी इसके अंदर ऐड करेगा। सो ऑल एंड ऑल ये मुकेश अंबानी के लिए एक विन विन सिचुएशन थी। लेकिन हम ये चीज़ देखते हैं कि इस मर्जर से बहुत पहले 2018 से ही मुकेश अंबानी आहिस्ता आहिस्ता अपनी उन बिजनेस स्ट्रेटजीज के साथ साथ जियो को इस कैलिबर तक, इस लेवल तक ले आए और उसको स्टेप बाय स्टेप वो ग्रो करते रहे। विद एवरी स्टेप डिज्नी जो है वो नीचे आता गया एंड मुकेश अंबानी जो है
स्मार्टली प्ले किया,
बहुत स्मार्टली प्ले किया और उन्होंने मतलब लिटरली अपनी इन बिजनेस स्ट्रेटजीज के साथ ये चीज साबित की कि धीरू भाई अंबानी इनके इनके पिताजी वही सिर्फ और सिर्फ जो है वो एक बेताज बादशाह नहीं थे। हाँ ठीक है, वो इनके लिए एक यूनिवर्सिटी जरूर थे, लेकिन इन्होंने साबित किया कि भाई मैं भी उन्हीं का बेटा हूँ।
हाँ।
और इन्होंने जिस तरह से रिलायंस को और जियो को ये आज ले गए हैं,
बिल्कुल एक स्ट्रॉन्ग फाउंडेशन बना लिया ना इन्होंने उसको।
भाई ये एक जो है वो मजेदार बात है कि अब रिलायंस से हट के जियो अपने आप में एक इतना बड़ा ग्रुप बन गया है कि जिसके बारे में ये चीज कही जा रही है कि वो इंडियन ओटीटी इंडस्ट्री का जो है वो मतलब अनप्रोक्लेम्ड किंग है, और जो है उससे ऊपर इस वक्त कोई नहीं, और सबसे ज्यादा व्यूअरशिप भी उन्हीं के पास है। और फिर मतलब जियो की टेलीकम्युनिकेशन जो है वो भी हम उसके अंदर हम ये चीज देखते हैं कि अगर ये सारे पैकेजेस जो हैं वो अपने वो टेलीफोन के पैकेजेस के साथ, अपने मोबाइल पैकेजेस के साथ जब वो लोगों को देना शुरू होंगे तो बहुत सारी व्यूअरशिप और बहुत सारे जो क्या कहना चाहिए कि जो यूजर्स हैं वो वोडाफोन और एयरटेल से हट के फिर वो जियो के अंडर आ जाएंगे। और सो हेंस उन्होंने ये बताया इस वीडियो के अंदर कि दैट इज another $18 billion of profit। तो मुकेश अंबानी has played a master stroke, लेकिन इस मास्टर स्ट्रोक के लिए उन्होंने जो स्टेप बाय स्टेप पहले एक वो पिच तैयार की, एक जो एक फाउंडेशन उन्होंने बनाई जियो की, असल में बिजनेस केस स्टडी वो थी। सो एनीवेज हमें इस वीडियो का बहुत मजा आया। आप बताइएगा कि आपको ये वीडियो कैसी लगी, कुछ ऐसा जो कि हम इस वीडियो में मिस कर गए हों जो आप ऐड करना चाहते हो, हमें कमेंट जरूर कीजिएगा। अगर आपको हमारा रिएक्शन पसंद आया हो तो चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करना और वीडियो को लाइक करना बिल्कुल।
मिलते हैं आपसे अगली वीडियो में, अपना बहुत ख्याल रखिए।